But you're not my director. Good evening from the downtown Seattle Public Library. Actually, this is the Central Library. I'm Enrique Serna, and I'm going to be your moderator for this evening's conversation about creating a safer Seattle. Tonight, we're going to hear from Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell. He and I will have a one-on-one conversation about our city's public safety concerns. We're also going to hear from our Police Chief Adrian Diaz, Fire Chief Harold Scoggins, Care Chief Amy Smith, and Human Services Director Tanya Kim. They're sitting right down here someplace. Okay, stand up and wave. All right, here we are. Also, you're going to see on the screen here, we have some housekeeping issues we want to share with you. It's a full house. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here. But we'd also like to make sure that we're going to have a civil and respectful conversation. And so we expect our audience members to be civil and respectful. And as you can see on the screen there, we ask that you not move from your seats, and also you put your phones on silent. You will be using your phone tonight, so you just put it on silent. That would be very helpful. Also, we're going to conduct some polling this evening with our audience about public safety issues, and on the screen you're going to see how you can access the polling system. I think there's these cards with a barcode that you want to use your phone, and it's kind of like when you go to the restaurant to get a menu now, and use your phone to go to the barcode, and it'll tell you how you can participate in our polling for this evening. We're going to have several questions that we're going to do that with tonight. In fact, why don't we do a test of our polling system? Has everybody been able to get in there? Say yes, raise your hand, telling me that you're making progress. Okay, so actually the question that we're going to ask you, it's a tough one. Should we bring back the Sonics? Now, I know that that's a difficult question. Yeah? Yes, that's one we can all cheer for. By the way, if you say no, security will escort you out of the building and we will boo loudly. I don't know how anybody could not want us to bring back the Sonics. All right. Can we do the test? Here's what, oh God, 3% said no. Who said no? Come on now. Really? Okay. Heck yes. 73% say yes. Thank you very much for participating there. So this is going to give you an opportunity to participate in our other polling questions that we're going to have this evening. We're also going to want to hear from the audience, and we have asked that you submit questions. I think some of you already done so. And at about 6:30, we're going to give an opportunity. If you haven't already submitted your questions, we're going to have some attendants along the aisles to be able to take those questions so we can try to work them into the conversation. I also want to introduce all of our public safety officials individually tonight. Let me introduce our police chief, Adrian Diaz. Come on, Adrian, stand up. Be right in front of the crowd. Our fire chief, Harold Scoggins. Our care chief, Amy Smith. And by the way, CARE stands for Community Assisted Response and Engagement. I just learned that myself. And also Human Services Director Tanya Kim. Please welcome them. All right, I think we're going to get going now. I'd like to have you all please welcome the mayor, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell.
Thank you, Enrique, for that awesome introduction. Warming up the crowd. Just one sec here. So this part is just going to last for a few minutes because the point of this, to describe sort of the logistics, is not so much for us to impress upon you what we're doing. We have statistics, we have strategies. It's really to extract from you what we can do better, what we could do in a novel way, what your experiences are. And so the technology is used to extract some of that. This is the kickoff. We're going to have 5 more sessions more precinct-based. So at each precinct, we're going to talk to the communities. We're going to do charrettes. We're going to have tables where we could have feedback. And we're going to have more of a dialogue. So that's sort of the format. Before I say a few more substantive remarks, I want to recognize a few council members here. Maritza Rivera, Kathy Moore, Joy Hollingsworth, and Tanya Wu. Will you raise your hand? And I hope you're not sitting next to each other. So boom, boom. Break some rules if you're all sitting by each other. We also have our city attorney, Ann Davidson, here, our King County prosecuting attorney, Lisa Mannion, here. Will you please raise your hand and be acknowledged as well, right there. You two can sit next to each other. No OPMA issues there. Thank you for being here. We also have, I believe, two municipal court judges here, Faye Chess and Andrea Chin. Are you here? I've been told, so thank you for being here. I read some remarks in the newspaper, I think, today from presiding Judge Faye Chess, and I guess my takeaway is don't mess with you. She don't play that, as they say. Thank you for being, our judges for being such effective judges. And I also want to thank the library staff here, Seattle Public Library. You know, this library is actually it was recognized as the most popular library in the United States. This is very special to me. Many of you don't know. My mother actually worked there for 30 years, and she was a finance manager. And so I sort of grew up in this library after school, coming here and waiting for her. So thank you for being here. Thank you because you care about this city. A few things. Many of you might have followed some of my remarks in the State of the City when I talked about crime statistics. You know, I'm data-driven. I want to measure what we're doing. We are bullish on trying to create a safe Seattle for everyone. It is a unifying element. I don't care if you're rich or poor, in between, or what racial demographic, what religion you are, whatever your unique demographic is. I think we all want to feel safe. And when we started looking at our strategies, you know, as my staff knows, we will read everything. We're voracious readers. That if something works, we will do it, but we are led by our values, and I think in the discussion, hopefully, we could talk about our values. I had a lot of statistics here. For example, when I talked about us recovering 1,500 illegal firearms last year, that is a record for the city. 80% of the homicides that we are critically concerned about, which is quite frankly why we're pushing for common sense gun legislation, 80% of the homicides were guns were used in 80% of them. We also received a record number of shell casings, 5,746 in 2023. That's more than 2021 and 2022 combined. This scares us. And when people are angry about public safety, I hear you, because I know behind the anger is fear. Fear for your life, fear for fear for your family. We understand that as an administration. 50% of all reported crimes happen on just 5% of our city blocks. So when we talk about targeting areas, we're not targeting people. We're trying to go where the action is where we can do more preventative work. You know, someone asked me, well, grade yourself, Mayor. How well are you doing? Let the people do that. My barometer is I have 2 grandchildren and 3 grown children, and if I could walk any part of this city and feel safe with my grandchildren, that's my personal barometer. And you know, I grew up on these streets, and I can't do that right now, and I'm not going to be bashful about saying that. I think in some of the discussions you'll know that we talk a lot about our police recruiting efforts, and people are saying, well, you know, your numbers aren't where they need to be. I talk to almost every mayor in every major city about this dilemma that they're in. If this work were easy, it would be done. It's very hard, but we're going to make some breakthrough, and we're on some incredible trends in terms of limiting the number of people that we're losing to attrition and looking at the applicants that we're having. So I want to thank my team and the police department for looking so strenuously and smartly at the problems we're having. The fact of the matter is we just lost an incredible amount of officers. And I say this is our opportunity to rebuild the dream department that we want, one that understands race and social justice, one that understands racial profiling and the effects of that, and we should not and ever do that. One that understands cultural competency. A unique police department in this sense is something that we've never had before. This is our opportunity. So I close during these opening remarks for how I began. Thank you. Thank you for being here because this matters to you. Now, in this process this evening, I'm sure some of you are going to voice your opinions, and what I just don't want to get caught up in is just redefining a problem, redefining a problem, redefining a problem. We walk these streets every day. We want to hear from you. But if you have solutions and you have criticisms, fair game. That's why we're opening up ourselves and making our 3 chiefs and the department heads available, and there are other members of my executive team here as well. So again, thank you. I look forward to the discussion, and I'll pass it back to you. Okay. You know, I've known this guy for how many years?
Oh, God, long time.
So
but I'm older than you.
No, I was in my 20s when I met you. You've gotten old on me, but I was 23 when I met him. So
Yeah.
let's thank Enrique, pre-thank him for the work that he's doing.
Thank you very much. All right. Have a seat right over there, and I will join you. And here's your microphone. Okay. Mr. Mayor, have a seat. We'll have a conversation. And thank you to everyone that is here this evening for coming out for the conversation. I need to start with what happened yesterday, and that was 2 shootings up in the Central District.
Yeah, near my high school.
Yeah, one was outside of Garfield High School. A student was shot in a drive-by. I think she was just a victim. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Someone else nearby, not too long later, was shot and killed. A woman was shot and killed. I was struck when I was watching the news coverage of this. A resident of the CD that they had talked to said, and I'm going to quote here, "I hate to say this, but it's just another day here in the Central District or in most metropolitan areas in America." And I found that very sad and disturbing because there was resignation there. It's almost like, this is just going to happen and there's nothing we can do about it. And I find that really sad. But I also wonder, as we try to address these issues, and particularly trying to create a safer Seattle, how do we do that when people have that kind of resignation and feeling, and these acts of violence continue?
So for those that don't know, I grew up in the Central District when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. And it has changed in other parts of Seattle with the level of the access to guns. Too many people have too many guns. That's just the short of it. Now, I have to tell for the lawyers in the room, they know there's a law, it's RCW 9.41.290. That is a state law that says, as mayor, I cannot regulate firearms. I cannot bar firearms in parks. I cannot establish a alcohol limit by which if someone exceeds it, I can take their gun. I cannot establish stricter background checks on who gets a gun. I cannot mandate training before someone obtains a gun. I would love to have that kind of flexibility. And who's not here, and I think many of you know my style by now. I've been in office for, not as mayor very long, but I've been in office for a while. I have a very consistent record on this. I don't blast people that are fellow electeds, never have. It's never gotten me very far. But I need to have, again, the state legislative body recognize this urgency. We are the biggest city in this state. And a lot of guns come through here. And so when I talk about the 1,500 guns that our department have seized, there's probably thousands of guns right now in the wrong hands that are going to commit a crime. So my solution is twofold. Number one, I'm pushing to put something on the ballot. I love to see something on the ballot to give cities to get out from under that preemption. Give cities, if people want to, why should I have the same policies in Spokane or Ording, Washington, or Walla Walla for that matter? Let cities have some flexibility, number one, or the state can pass that law. So what I'm trying to do is make sure we can have more flexibility. I'm tired of waiting on the federal government to address this issue. How many more mass killings do we have to have? Now, let's give the state some credit in terms of banning assault rifles, more stringent background checks. We have one of the most diverse legislative bodies we've had in our state's history, by the way. More African Americans, for example, than we've ever had, as an example. So we've made some considerable progress there, but we are a country that allows this kind of gun use, unlike many other countries, and it's troubling. So we'll do everything we can to seize the guns, to push our legislators to do the work, but it is very troubling for me as a mayor to have, to some extent, have limitations under the 941290 law.
You talked about values. So talk about that. What are the values for us that we seem to have lost values, that's for sure. But what are the values that will help us find this, safer city?
Well, I'll share my values. That's not one of the questions I think we're going to poll you on. I'll just tell you my values as the 57th mayor you should know. I have zero tolerance for criminals, people that are hurting other people, people that are holding people at gunpoint. Zero tolerance for that. I also realize that what some of you may see as a threat, I may see as a sick person. You may walk down the street and see someone nodding over. You may see that that's a public safety menace, and I may see someone that just needs help. So I don't mince words on this. That my job, my charter responsibility is to protect everyone in here. I go to funerals. My values, number one, are to protect people. I'm very protective. I have granddaughters, a daughter, a wife. I dare anyone to put them in harm's way. And when you grow, this is a funny thing for me when you talk about values. Many years ago, I was at a forum similar to this, and someone said, well, you're sort of a big guy. I thought they meant I ate too much. I was fat or something. But it says, you're sort of a big guy. You played you were a linebacker for the University of Washington. Man, probably a lot doesn't scare you. So how are you going to be able to regulate public safety for an 80-year-old person that is walking slower, a female, for example? You don't know her lens. I thought that was offensive for a number of reasons. Number one is my mother was around that age, and you said, you don't think I talk to my mother about how she feels when she walks? You don't think I'm worried about my little daughter when she walks around? So I said, just because you grow up sort of hard doesn't mean you're not incredibly sensitive. It doesn't make you oblivious to violence and to crime. In fact, it makes you alert and looking out for it and wanting to protect people. So my values is to protect you and not mince words. On the other hand, when it comes to drug use and health issues, who else is not in this discussion, I don't think, are the incredible health advocates that are trying to help people. And we all know that someone that's strung out with mental illness, mentally impaired through drugs can be dangerous. We all know that. And people sometimes ask me, in fact, there's a gentleman, Enrique, that was coming here, he tried to impress upon me that just because when someone's high, he wants me to arrest them immediately. And I listened. I didn't even express an opinion. I need to treat that person. So my values are to treat people that are sick and arrest people that are bad. Is that clear enough?
Let's talk about some of the proposals of trying to deal with our gun violence issues. And one of them has been, it's getting a lot of public attention, concern. Some want it, some don't. And that is a gunshot detection technology, commonly referred to as the shot spotter. For those who aren't familiar, why don't you explain it briefly?
Sure. So I've been an advocate of this technology. It's called acoustic gunfire locating system, and one of many companies that provide is shot spotter. So I try to say AGLS to be neutral in terms of the companies. It also detects, by the way, glass that breaks and certain cars that go loudly. It has the ability acoustically through the technology to determine this kind of activity. Now, I understand, and there is a camera component that can attach to it, so as soon as there's a shot, it rotates and can figure out where the shots were. Now, opponents would say perhaps we're targeting minority areas or areas where people are going to be surveilled in this kind of position. What I want to know is accurate data. We are using a complaint-based systems on gunshots. Right now, if we all heard a gunshot right outside, I don't think we're going to report it. Hopefully you're listening to me and trying to yell at me or something. We're just assuming someone else is going to report it. This happens all the time, and so when I demand that the police department give me data on where there are gunshots in the city. They know I'm bullish on that. I want good data. And when people talk about crime statistics and they say, are they good enough, I'm the one that wants integrity to crime statistics. I'm giving you what we have. And they know when I sit in these meetings, I question the data sets. So on this particular technology, I want you to know where the gunfire is. And if it's a 98118 and 98114, and you want to know exactly how many and what time of day, and we can use analytics. If we know certain gunfire occurs at certain times of day, perhaps we could make staffing decisions based on that. We will never surveil a black or brown community as long as I'm mayor. That is not going to happen. I will protect my community. So this technology is one of several means to detect where there's gunfire. Because, as I said earlier, 80% of the homicides, a gun was used. And so that's why I'm a proponent of it. But I like using, and I wanted to trial it. We weren't spreading the stuff all over the city. Let's trial it where we think there's gunfire, see if the data works. And many cities are using it and using it effectively. And it is controversial, but you know what? I got a better idea. Let's just keep trying the same old stuff and think we're going to get new results, right? I'm being facetious, of course. We have to start looking at what other cities are doing and why they're doing it. We have to use beta trials in this situation, and I think that's how I lead. I try to look what's happening in other cities. So that's that technology. The truth is, this year, I don't know if we're going to deploy it this year or not. I've been an advocate for 10 years on this. I didn't just come out with this when I became mayor. We actually had it in the budget. Many years ago, we had it in a budget rate. We did a press conference. We were going to deploy it, and it was under a previous mayor, and we just didn't deploy it. So it's been around for a while. Like I said, many cities are doing it. We are not.
Big issue is staffing, particularly for the police department. You said that your goal is 1,400 police officers in Seattle. Latest numbers show SPD is less than 1,000 and struggling to get people to become Seattle police officers. So how do you reach our goals? I mean, the city council has really put some focus on this and saying, you know, we put a lot of money into this, but where are the results?
Yeah. So the first thing I need everyone to know is until we reach the 1,400 number, I want to thank the officers that we do have for doing what they are doing. That I am not going to wait till we hit that net. Yes, let's give them a hand. I don't know if any of you have ever coached youth sports, but I've coached at a lot of youth sports. And if I have a team, and let's say it's a basketball team, and we only have like two good players, and we got 5 on the team, and they get tired because they don't even have a bench. Well, I just got to work the folks that I have until I could recruit. So in the meantime, I will assure you that our department, we are working as hard as we can in my job to keep them motivated. And we're very close to a SPOG contract being signed. That's a balance. We want to compensate our officers, and we also want the accountability safeguard. So it's been a negotiation for a couple of years, but I'm very confident we're near the finish line. So we will reach it by, again, we're getting about 200 applications a month. We are looking at this, for example, I'll give you a specific example. The old system, if you took a test and you flunked, you had to wait 6 months, right? So now we looked at that, and can we push that to a 3-month process? And again, there's been reasons why it's been done in another way. I'll give you another good example. We do a polygraph. State requires that there's a polygraph test. I know from firsthand experience of talking to people that, and it's very subjective, that there have been people that have flunked our polygraph and then they pass a polygraph in a neighboring jurisdiction that have become police officers. So we're looking granularly at what our internal systems are, where we're converting someone from when they say we want to be a police officer, where they're dropping off. And quite frankly, I gave you 2 examples of probably 20 things we're doing. And if I looked at, and if you see the numbers, we're actually making progress. And our attrition, people quitting, is going down significantly. Again, I have the statistics here. I don't want to dig them out, but someone probably could shoot them out. But I want to say like 30 to 40% improvement on the attrition rates. And I think many of you know that I go to the precincts, I meet with them sometimes 4 a.m., 11 p.m., and I tell these, every time I walk by an officer, I thank you for what you're doing. So we're going to coach them up, recruit, break the systems, the bureaucratic systems, compensate them well, and we'll get our numbers reached.
All right, we want to move on here. We have some polling that we'd like to do, and Mayor, and you want to set that up?
All right, we're gonna set it up.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn my
You can see
back
the
to this
barcode
beautiful
here.
audience. Okay, so
Here's our spot.
I want to know who the 7% that didn't want the Sonics back were first, because we already know this is going to be
Come on.
very interesting.
All right. So there's the barcode that for our first poll number. Poll question.
I want to say one thing, Enrique. The reason why we want to do this now is we want this to inform the discussion with our chiefs and our human services department. We want it to inform it, and then at the end we're going to do another question. Now you got to stick around to the end, that talks about some of your priorities. Okay, so this is just to generate some conversation, not an exact science, but this is our way of communicating. Okay.
All right. So we already know about the Sonics. Here's our first question, Mr. Mayor. Do you feel safe in your home residence?
So do they already have the questions? How did it happen so quickly?
Because they were able to go into the barcode earlier.
Oh, you've already did it. You've already done it.
We're doing it right now.
But it was already, as soon as you turned it on, it was already.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So most people, 46% say very safe, 30% say somewhat safe, 8%, and it's kind of going back and forth here. Not 50%, but still.
And the other issue is we realize some of you, because remember, we're going to go to 5 precincts. We're going to do something very similar. We realize we don't know where you all live, right? Some of you may live downtown, and that's probably in, well, I won't speculate which one that is in. Some of you may live way out in another area. So, but we just want to sort of know who we're talking to right here. So we understand this is not an exact extrapolation of the city.
So we had 126 people respond to that. Do you feel safe in your neighborhood? Very safe, 21%. That's actually kind of low. Somewhat safe, 40%. Unsure, at 6%. Somewhat unsafe, at about 26%. Very unsafe, at 6%. How safe do you feel in your workplace? I would also imagine this has to do with where you go to work and where your workplace is situated, if you think about that. Do you feel safe in your workplace? Very safe at 35%, somewhat safe, 29%, unsure, 11%, somewhat unsafe.
I'm sorry, can we go back to, so this takeaway here is 4 and 5 are unsure. What does unsure mean? They're right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So can I go back to the neighborhood one? Is that almost the same?
Okay. I don't know, the numbers keep changing here a little bit. I think
Okay.
as we get the responses for folks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what you said, but okay. There we go.
Someone just hit submit.
Because I can't hear you. All right. Do you feel safe taking transit? This would be a very concerning one.
To typo on that. Very UAF.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone from the UW must have done this, I think. Anyway, very unsafe, 7%. You missed that, by the way. Somewhat safe at 22%. Unsure, 16%. Somewhat unsafe, 30%. Very unsafe, 23%. Oh, they fixed it. Do you feel safe visiting downtown? Very safe at 9%. Somewhat safe at 30%. Unsure at 7%. Somewhat unsafe, 31%. And it's very unsafe, and I didn't get that one. All right. Do you feel safe at social activities like sports, concerts, festivals? It's becoming more of an issue these days as we go to big gatherings. So we have very safe at 23%, someone safe around 40%, unsure 7%, somewhat unsafe at 23%, and very unsafe at 5%. And I wonder how many people these days don't go to events because they're so concerned about their safety. Do you feel safe in public places like parks, restaurants, stores, and schools? Very safe at about 15%. Somewhat safe at 42%. Unsure at 9%. Somewhat unsafe at 22%. Very unsafe at 8%. And do you think Seattle needs stronger firearm regulations? Well, everybody agrees. Strongly agree. Well, not everybody, but 62%, that's a big number. Somewhat agree, 14%, unsure, 10%, and somewhat disagreed, 7%, strongly disagree at 5%.
I think those are the same people that don't like the Sonics coming back.
I want to know who those people are. Have you or someone you know been the victim of property crime in the last 2 years? Yes, I had my car stolen recently, but I did get it back. Seattle police found it. All right.
Wait, can I go back to that one? That is an astounding fact. Just in this semi-sample,
Yeah.
76% have been a victim of property crime in the last 2 years. That's astounding.
I have to say that when you have something like that happening, it's unnerving, because
Yes.
it was for me. Okay, moving on. Have you or someone you know been the victim of violent crime in the last 2 years? Whoa. 61%. Unsure at 8%, 7%? No at 30%. 61%. Wow. That's a huge one. All right. Are we moving on now? Okay. Thank you for your responses. We're going to have another poll question a little bit later. I'd like to have all my panel members move on here. Also, for those of you that didn't submit your questions, we have our attendants that will, one guy over here in blue and over there that you can hand your questions to, and they will put them in the mix, and we'll try to get them all lined up. Pardon me. Actually, Mary, you're going to sit right there.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Let me welcome again our public safety officials that we have on hand here. Next to the mayor is the police chief and fire chief, our care chief now.
Oh, you're on mic.
Yeah.
And Tanya Kim with Human Services. All right. We've got a little action going on here. All right. Well, thank you all for taking the time to be here. And let me first begin with you, Chief, because you're the guy, it seems like, when anything happens. I want to start again, go back to what happened. Well, can you tell us anything, any resolutions of the shooting that happened yesterday near Garfield?
Yeah, so as we know, yesterday we actually had a homicide that happened at 105th and Aurora, where it appears that a vehicle shot around a gas station and ended up striking somebody and killing them in their vehicle. So that's what the morning started off with. Then shortly, just right around 2 o'clock or so, then we responded out to a shooting that happened just right outside of Garfield High School, right at the intersection of 23rd and Jefferson. And right now what it appears is that a vehicle was shooting towards a bus stop where a juvenile female, was sitting in the bus stop and was struck in the leg. She is going to make it. I actually talked to her sister that is also a student at the school. And it's such a traumatizing thing for that family to go through, where the mom isn't there at that time. The parents aren't there, but the sister's also helping, trying to figure out what happened with her sister. And when we safely got her to the hospital, so that way she could be reunited with her sister. But that's the hardships of that. That's the real trauma that occurs in the school. The students that are impacted by sheltering in place and are in a lockdown, and everybody's trying to know what's going on, and there's a lot of unknowns. We're making progress on that case. I can tell you our detectives are working hard, and we're hoping that we can actually have a good, safe resolution very soon. The couple hours later, towards about 8 o'clock in the evening, officers were actually patrolling the area. They were taking that visible presence in and around Garfield, as well as 23rd and Jackson. As you know, that about within the last year, A for Apple was it's a child care / school that had been impacted by gun violence during the day, and where some of the students had to learn how to bear crawl during that time and try to find safety. And so our officers had been a visible presence. We've had mobile precinct out in that 23rd and Jackson area, and officers were actually at that same location that night. They heard the gunshots along with the 911 call that came out of the shooting, and they responded very, very quickly within almost a minute to the location, and found a female that had been deceased. So right now we're working and scanning for any evidence, video evidence, as well as witnesses. We're talking to people even within the last hour, just even in this room, to hopefully be able to put together evidence so we can try to solve these cases. But to what the mayor was saying, we've actually, in just the last week, we've actually made 5 homicide arrests just in a week. One case was in 2023, the other 4 cases are in 2024. But detectives are working extremely hard, doing everything they can to solve these cases and have justice for the families that are impacted by it, but as well as the community that's also impacted.
I want to move on here to our chief. And when it comes to public safety, what's your biggest concern for your department?
First, thanks for hosting this tonight. Mr. Mayor, thanks for putting this together, sharing, what we're doing with the community. But all the things you mentioned are our biggest concern. The shootings, we're there. Our firefighters are on the street. They're treating all of these victims. The vacant buildings and the fires around the community that you see all over the community. The overdoses. Last year, the Seattle Fire Department responded to over 5,000 overdoses, and over 3,800 of those were opioid related. The encampment responses, those are can be very dangerous places. And when someone calls 911, whether it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning, what you need to know is your firefighters are going to find someone who needs some help and to help them. So all the things we're talking about impact all of public safety. It just isn't one place. And, we have really good partners in the police department, and the care department, and HSD. So all the things that you're talking about are concerns of ours in the fire department.
Amy Smith, you are in charge now of care. Came online not too long ago. Tell us about this effort and how it's working, and what are you encountering?
Yeah, so I have oversight of Seattle 911, and that is my primary focus, because when you look at 911 data, the calls coming in and then the response, I often say we're guessing what it is. It's based on what somebody's observing often, what they're reporting, and then I get to look at how the call turned out, right? Did police need to be there? Were they useful? Did fire need to be there? Was this medical? And then you look at the range of calls in the middle where you really didn't need fire or police. We need to keep those first responders free to go to high acuity calls. We do have urgent needs that are already represented tonight, but there are a lot of folks who need help, who are in distress, who are in crisis, who deserve a response. And so that is why the Care Crisis Responder Team, the first team is 6 folks. They're really skilled. They've been working either as community service officers, some have been working for King County Mobile Crisis Team, and they are well trained to go out and triage and try to figure out swiftly. On average, they're getting to the scene in 8 minutes. And to spend enough time to figure out what is needed. Can I de-escalate this person? We do all sorts of transport. Sometimes somebody needs to get back home, get back into shelter. They need supplies. I've joked, people ask what kind of transports, and sometimes we're giving a ride to get food. There was once a ride to get a Slurpee, and it was because that's what the person wanted. That's what they needed, to sort of calm down, to have a conversation. And then the goal is to be able to connect that person to services, to stabilize them, and to keep these other teams free to get to calls that require their response. So it's going well, yeah.
Tanya Kim, Human Services, and what does your department, what's the impact when we talk about these issues of public safety and shootings and all of these things that so much of us are worried about?
Well, I love being at the end here because I feel like Chief Smith really set it up nicely where it's the handoff to the services. And so when you think about the Human Services Department, if you don't know who we are, we invest in community-based organizations and truly partner with people who have brilliant ideas. Some of you are in the audience. to bring forward solutions or to offer services to even prevent some of these very issues. And so we have contracts with many organizations, specifically in this space. I'll call out a couple. We do have investments, for example, in an initiative formed by community partners. It's called the Seattle Community Safety Initiative. They're in 3 different geographic areas. It's based on data where their presence is needed and where they also are responding to the frequency of, unfortunately, some of the violence. But more importantly, I know we oftentimes hear about when there's an incident, but it's the aftercare. It's the work that happens a couple months later, a year later. And so it's a really nice bookend. And then if I was able to split myself, I would go on the other side to do the preventative work. We believe when people have their basic needs met, that you don't necessarily have to do the things, or you're secure and you're able to be hopeful and have goals and contribute in community in the way that is meaningful. And so the prevention aspect around basic needs with food, shelter, and even furthermore, employment, opportunities for if you've been incarcerated and having reentry programs, there is a lot of services that we kind of bookend in this space.
Yeah. Cindy, why don't you, she's playing Vanna White today with questions. Here we go, thank you very much. Before we get to this, I want to come back to, is yours a pilot program?
No. I'm calling it a pilot because I'm an academic and I'm testing and want to prove the concept works before we develop. But these new roles have been legislated. It is a 3rd public safety department. It will continue. It will grow. This is a national movement. It is needful. Every day I'm on the phone with teams of academics. Today it was Georgetown, because they're looking at Seattle because it's not a pilot. It's not another little sub-team of secondary responders. I'm saying we need first responders. I need to dispatch swiftly to this person who is in crisis.
So is that unusual? I mean, what we're doing here, being
Yes.
that we're not a pilot?
Yes.
Is everybody else a pilot in what they're doing?
It's unusual that I have oversight of 911 and that we're just dispassionately looking at the data to be empirical about what we recommend in first response. It is unusual that there are 3 chiefs. That is unprecedented. Yeah. And, that really is the mayor's vision, and it is significant, and I applaud it.
Yeah. Why did you feel this was so critical to have, Mr. Mayor?
The data would suggest this is the smartest approach. They've already intervened in 300 situations, and only 4 or 5 times do the police have to come, where we do not need a gun and badge response, because they have prior to 1 calls that we want them to deploy to. The park rangers, we're looking at other means while we're recruiting police officers to make sure we're doing it the smartest way. Our park rangers, we expanded them to other parks. Over 400 interventions that would have probably resulted in 911 calls. You look at the firefighters, and I want to recognize Ken Stewart here, the rank and file. Try to give the chiefs all the credit. They're the ones doing the work out there. Where are you, Ken? I saw him walk in. He's way up there in the back. Of course, he never wants to take credit. Yet this week we announced our investment in buprenorphine. Now, why would we do that? And for those that don't know, that's different than Narcan. Narcan is the immediate response, right, to get them out of arrest. But immediately they start having withdrawal symptoms. And when you have withdrawal symptoms, they got to get that horse off the back. And this ability to dispense them allows them to address their withdrawal systems. So we will do everything creatively while we recruit police at unarmed, non-armed responses. It makes sense. And we want Chief Smith to make sure that, and they're real smart on this stuff, when they deploy our resources, they're doing it in the best manner. And I'll tell you something else. You talk about values. When I see someone get killed over a drug episode or a mental illness breakdown, or because their tail light was out, that's not going to happen in our administration. That is not our goal. So this is the smart way to do constitutional policing and make sure the needs of the community are met.
Didn't my friend you say
So,
they killed
So, Chief,
I
want to
don't have a clue as to what you said.
Yeah. Our conversation is here. We appreciate that you came here. But, as I asked before, this is going to be a civil conversation. We'll carry it here. We have questions here, and we'll do that. If you have something to state, we'll do it after the program. Thank you very much. Chief, let me ask you this. I think, we are so concerned about our safety, especially when we hear about these shootings. But I guess, there's a perception out there, I suppose, of the Seattle police and maybe police across the country. How do we go about improving the effectiveness and the perception of SPD in the community?
So, right now
Which
we've
is
been...
trust, which I think.
Yeah, so we've been a data-driven agency. We've been, as part of the consent decree, setting the high standards for the police department. We've actually lowered level 2 and level 3 use of forces, which is serious levels of use of force, down to drastically, very, very low numbers. In fact, right now, in overall incidences, we run about 400 to 500,000 case calls for service that come into 911 center. And right now, we're about 1.25 to 1.4% that result in some level of use of force, which is almost non-existent. And right now, one of the biggest things was, officer-involved shootings, especially after having George Floyd, the incident that it went on. We have actually, when you look at officer-involved shootings, before we were averaging roughly about 6 to 7 a year. We've had 1 in 22 months that did not result in a death. So officers are going out and de-escalating situations at a highest rate. I mean, this is probably unprecedented levels of numbers. In fact, we've gotten to the point where we've gotten so low in our efforts to making sure that, and we're still recovering guns. We're still going out and making arrests. And I think really right now it's really about making sure that we go out and try to do everything we can to build that trust and relationships within our communities.
The City Council, earlier this week, I think it was City Council member Kathy Moore, who kind of pressed you about the results in hiring and recruiting.
Yeah.
And basically just said, hey, come back with some results here. What's the challenge? Why, we put a lot of money into this. How do we then get more respondents and to increase our numbers?
Yeah, so like the mayor said, he's also talked to mayors. I've talked to a lot of major city chiefs and almost everyone across the country. In fact, I've been at recruiting sessions and trying to figure out what people are doing across the country. And this is a challenge. Everybody's trying to find an incentive, and we're all competing for the same pool of candidates. And really, as we start to look at, I've actually asked my staff to look at a couple different things. We have a bunch of women colleges in the country. I'm sure that there's maybe 1 or 2 that have a criminal justice program. Why don't we sit there and figure out how do we recruit within those things? We have HBCUs that are across the country. Why aren't we, being able to really pinpoint and target in the HBCU? We have athletes that are coming out. They're probably not moving on to the pros. How do we recruit that? Because they all are focused on teamwork. So we're all competing for a candidate pool across the country in technology, in manufacture, in fast food, into policing. And we also have to make sure that we make this a viable target. When we also talked about, you talk about youth and ask them, like, I want to go out and serve and help people. A lot of them don't see policing as service and help. And so we have to go back to that kind of old model of really showing that how much we are focused on service, how much we go out and help people, how much we put tourniquets and chest seals and help save lives, going out and making sure that we take people that are victimized and putting them into a better environment so they're not victimized again, and see this as a service job. And I think once we get to that point, even as a community, to making sure that they understand how we can support the police department to go out and do the right thing and make the department that much better.
Chief Scoggins, what's your staffing like? I don't think you're probably hurting as much as the police department is, but what's your challenge?
Sure, we're not where we need to be. We are budgeted for 1,111 firefighters and another 87 professional staff members. Right now, we have about an 8% vacancy rate, but that's not accurate because we have approximately 40 in training, so that would take us up to about 10 to 12% vacancy rate. So we have a class in right now. Our challenge is getting folks through the training. You know, being a firefighter is a really difficult job. It's really, really hard work. Just to give you a little bit of the lay of the land, we have 33 fire stations around the city, staffed 24/7 all over the city. The way we're built is based on response times. For medical emergencies, we want to get there in 5 minutes or less. Right now, we're doing that about 62% of the time. Fire emergencies, we want to get there in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Well, why on medical? Because the brain starts to lose function in 8 minutes. So we get there in 5, we can really go to work and we can do some good work. Why 5 minutes and 20 seconds on fire? It's because of time temperature curve and the rate of spread and how fires burn. We're more effective if we can get there quicker. So are we always out there recruiting? Absolutely. By the way, our application's open October 4th to November 29th. We got a lot of workshops coming up. Hopefully we'll see you there. But, you know, we don't have a problem as much as PD in getting folks in. When our applications opened on March 1st, 2022, and they closed April 19th, we got 3,000 applications. So that's the list we're working through right now. But we may get 50 in training, and we may get 30 to 35 out because it's a really hard job. When you have to put on 50, 60, 70 pounds worth of gear, and then you have to go to work, a lot of people don't understand the difficulty of the work.
By the way, that was very smooth how you did that plug there.
You're talking about the October 4th date, our application's open?
Well, what about you, Ace, for your unit? I mean, are you staffed adequately?
911 is never staffed adequately. It's not nationally. I mean, there's a high turnover. It's a really difficult job. We haven't considered these folks first responders and supported them the way that we should. We've treated it like secretarial work. And so, you know, feeling invisible in the system, even though you were the first responder, absorbing uniquely the pain in community, not really having any closure, and then having to work, you know, overtime, mandatory overtime, just like these other two departments, it's exhausting. And so we're doing what we can to improve culture, to staff up. I'm very focused on retention, and I do think that it's significant to acknowledge what the work is. And again, I really appreciate all of the folks here and a lot of the council. Just about everybody's already been out to sit in 911 to learn about the system. I see a lot of my dear teammates here from 911, and I just love that they are engaged in this public safety conversation because they're brilliant about it. Very smart recommendations. But yeah, I don't know if I can make your smooth pitch. I'll have snacks if you can come to 911. Yes. Yeah.
We all need staff.
Yeah.
Tanya, is staffing an issue for you?
I was waiting. I was hoping that you were going to ask me. The Human Services Department is doing okay, but just in general, this is probably not going to be a surprise to you. Social workers, the community work, some of you who may be doing this as a profession or have transitioned out, whether it's nursing or others, especially post-pandemic, it's a tough gig. And so, you know, there are folks who are burning out, they're feeling stretched thin. We've got a lot of, I mentioned earlier, partnering with community-based organizations. A lot of our organizations that we work with are from community. These are the neighbors, these are the siblings, this is where they grew up. They care very deeply, and so this is not a 9-to-5 job. So we are looking at sustainability. How can we also address some of the traumas that they are also experiencing by hopping from one funeral and then going to the next event? So we do have to take good care of each other, as well as, of course, our colleagues here. So I'm thinking deeply about that a lot.
So this may be a question for both the chief and the mayor. Given the police take 23 minutes to respond to gunfire 1 mile away with minimal penalties, how will a shot spotter be effective?
So I'll start off with correcting a little bit of the numbers. Typically right now we're actually about 7.7 when it comes to a response to priority 1 calls. Faster when it comes to actual shootings in many of these calls. In fact, yesterday, just being a block away, we're deploying people in the right area because, as the mayor said earlier, about kind of focusing on place-based policing, where you're looking at certain locations that tend to have high responses. We know that if you look at shots fired, 40% of the shootings and shots fired are in the south precinct. That's the south end. And if you look at down around Brighton Place all the way down into Rainier Beach, there's very specific locations that are where you want to deploy your officers. So we're taking that data-driven approach and really trying to make sure that our officers are in those right spots to streamline our effectiveness. And so, yes, there are times where we do have longer response times, but it is also right now is really trying to make sure that officers are, patrolling in a very, very directed manner and focusing really, as we do a lot more operations, we actually focus more operationally, not on just random, but we don't do random patrols. We're actually really targeting specific emphasis on place-based policing.
Let me have a bar on that one. So I want accurate data on where guns are being fired. If you have a better idea, email me. Okay. Now there are other ways to prevent gun violence. That's the most important work, not just where gunfire is. If you look at some of the work done in some of the other cities, through the use of social media, through the use of analytics, through the use of looking at communities who suffered trauma, through getting intel out there on the streets to know what's going on in people's lives. That's why we are investing nearly $5 million to community-based organizations. Now, when we save a life, that's hard to prove. But one reason why we're using that strategy is to prevent the gunfire. The fact of the matter is people come from other cities as well, and they come here and they're creating chaos. And so our analytics, I ask, and when people work for me, they know I'm pretty tough. I want to know where the gun came from. How did they get the gun? What was going on in that person's life for them to pull the damn trigger? Okay? So let's not confuse the preventative work we're doing in the analytics with this simple tool of technology. I want to know where the gunfire is occurring. And if you have a better idea, I'm all ears. Okay? But that's why I'm a proponent of it, because I went down when I was on the city council to look at when it was first being deployed. And you may recall, I was the first proponent of body cameras. I took a lot of hits when they said, why is this guy talking about putting body cameras on police officers? I had to go to the University of Washington and debate on whether that made sense now. Then many years later, Obama came out in his administration and had a national movement toward body cameras. So I'm telling you, 10, 15 years from now, you heard it first. You heard it first. 10, 15 years from now, you're going to see the use of technology on this all around the city. You're going to see it in neighborhoods. People are going to want to see it 10, 15 years from now. You can say, yeah, that old Harrell, he was on to something. So I understand the concerns. People don't trust the government. They certainly don't trust surveillance tools. I get that. Hell, I don't. So we're having this debate now to lay the foundation for what I think will give us accurate data while we deal with the gunfire.
Can I just jump in on that? So one of the things in deploying an AGLS system in one community, they actually found that 40% of the shots fired had not been called. I think the mayor alluded to earlier in the conversation about sometimes we have a shooting, we figure somebody else will call, and so that is one of the biggest issues that we find. If the police department is going to be data driven and 40% of the shootings are not actually being recorded, it's like a flip of a coin for me to deploy my resources. So we have to be data driven. We have to figure out the accuracy of the data. We have to make sure that we're getting all of those shots fired so I know specifically where I need to target those officers. Because when you're limited in resources, we've got to make sure we're pinpoint. We refer to it as precision policing. Got to be pinpoint to that area.
Joy Hollingsworth, can you come up here, please?
Oh, see.
Yeah. No, Thank you, really appreciate it. I wanted to talk to you about what happened in the Central District last night, and your concerns about this. It's your area, it's your district, and what have you been doing since this has happened?
Yeah. My area, my community, grown up there 40 years. It'll be my birthday tomorrow, so I turned 40. So it's been 40 years in the district. And the concern is, and I've talked to a bunch of parents, to principals, to social workers, is when we can't keep our kids safe, it's a failure on us as adults. And I really take that very seriously, being in this role. It's different when you're on the other side. I'm a small business owner, and something happens, and you just want to solve the problem very fast. and you want to get there and you want to connect with people. And it's the same thing as in government, but you also want to understand what resources are available. What can we do to make sure that our kids are safe? And I'll tell you a story. There's a kid, unfortunately, he died to gun violence. His name was Connor Dasa Holland, and he was killed on Mother's Day in 2020 at Rainier Beach. And I coached this kid since he was in 6th grade, and I see his mom here. And I remember I didn't know you were going to be here, and there was, let's give her a hand. There was gun violence that happened in the South End, and we had a meeting, and the South Precinct was there, and I walked in and I saw her, and I said, hey, you know, what can we do better? What can we do better as a city? And she said, Joy, you see all these adults in here? I want them to be in there with the kids that are in the gym. I want to see people, I want to see in-school mentorship. I want to see after-school program. I want to see people getting fed. Talks about the preventative work and human services. That's what we're talking about. Making sure that there's after-school programs, making sure that there's engagement, make sure that the content that's on TikTok that is very volatile and people are putting it in their minds and their brains as kids, that we're taking them from that, away from that, and putting them in these community centers in their parks. So, you know, we're going to be working with it's going to be all hands on deck. It's going to be our parents. It's going to be our schools, our teachers, it's going to be our first responders, our human services. You know, I'm really dedicated to this because anytime a child is hurt, especially at school, I take that really personally.
Yeah. I was really, and I opened up with the comment about the news coverage and what one resident of the area said, and there was this resignation. But I also saw a soundbite with a young man who goes to school in Garfield. And again, what struck me was that he talked about, oh yeah, you know, we have these lockdowns and they just happen, but that just seems to be so sad and disturbing that our young people are having to deal with this and just the long-term effects of that. This is not normal.
No, it's not normal, and I reject the fact that when people say, well, we're a big city and big cities have this type of violence. Not in Seattle. You know, I really reject that fact, and I know that our babies, they are traumatized by a lot of the gun violence that's going on. They're losing friends. They see it every day. We do not want them to normalize this type of behavior to where, you know, now they're becoming numb. So this is something that we're going to work on. I know that we're working hard every day. You have people that really passionately care about this, and we're going to be working as hard as we can to make sure that they have what they need to feel and be safe.
Thank you. I had asked for someone from that's on the front line. Can you point them out to me so I can go involve in them?
Sasha, wave. See, you're getting the council member Hollingsworth.
Yeah. Hey, can you come on down here? Come on. Come on down. Yeah. You know, don't worry. You know, don't worry about it. It's just you and me and several million people watching. So tell me about your work and what are you experiencing out there?
Sasha.
You know, I've done this kind of work for a long time. I worked at the ESC.
By the way, I didn't get your name. I'm sorry. How rude. I'm Enrique and you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sasha Pollack, and I'm a community crisis responder. But yeah, again, I've been doing this kind of work, crisis response and crisis intervention, for a really long time, 7 years. And the work that I'm doing now as a community crisis responder has been phenomenal. I get the opportunity to be with our community members at their lowest and at their darkest times and get to be that star and that light for them, offering them hope, emotional support. Again, I was the one that took the community member on the Slurpee field trip, so that was really great. And you know, because I've been in this work for so long, particularly in Pioneer Square, I know a lot of our community members that are out there that are suffering, that are dying, and you know, I get the opportunity to further support them in their journey, whether it be towards recovery, towards housing, or something like that.
What's a typical day like for you out there?
We like to be out and about. You'll see us in our lovely blue shirts and blue jackets, walking around, engaging with our community and some of the businesses that are around the downtown area and the DAP. If you see our cards, there's community crisis responder on it, and so please say hi and wave at us. I promise you we'll wave back. So we like to be out there. We like to be visible. We like to know what's going on in our community. I am shaking, sorry. We like to be there. We like to know who is in our community and how we can best support.
In this job, I mean, you see some trying things out there. So, but what's the response from the people that you're helping?
I've got nothing but great responses. I mean, sometimes we get people who are a little bit hesitant because they don't know who we are initially. So when we're like, hey, we're not here to get you in trouble, we're here to support and see what we can do for you, like what is your immediate need right now. We've gotten great responses. There was a gentleman that one of my partners and I saw who is a vet outside the precinct, very irritated, very agitated, and we're like, well, you know, shelters are closed right now, but we can give you a blanket. It's like, well, is that going to take 18 years? And we're like, no, it's just in the back of our vehicle, which is right around the corner. And once we were able to get him that blanket, he was able to take a breath and be able to, okay, these people are actually here to support me.
Well, thank you for your work out there. Appreciate it, and sorry to startle you, but hey, you did a great job.
Thank you all so much.
You want to say something, Mr. Mayor? Or
I'm sorry?
you look like you were going for the microphone.
I was clapping. I thought she did awesome. Made us proud.
Well, let me move to some more questions here. And Chief Diaz, here's one for you. And it really, no, I'm not sure if it's for the chief, but it's for everybody. I guess, is there a particular program in the city that you really think is working well? I mean, I think right now we tend to look at things very negatively because of trust and what's happening out there from a crime and violence standpoint.
You know, actually, one of the things I feel like with staffing at a low, fire departments, understaffed, the dispatchers are overworked. Our officers are also, on the front lines trying to make sure that we make the city safe. All of our entities are working collaboratively together. So those are things that work because honestly, when you start to think about the types of calls for service, bringing care into the mix, we have 11,000 calls for service just dealing with people in crisis every single year. And we need to be able to pull some of that work to people that already have specialty skills in that. And so we need to make sure that we're working with care to be able to take some of that workload off of our plate so we can focus on that priority one criminal activity, which is violent crime, things that are impacting our community. That doesn't mean that we're not going to work in conjunction together, but having people that have those specialty skills frees our officers up to go out and handle the crime issues that we have in our city. We work closely with fire departments. So I would say right now our entities are working collaboratively with very, very short staffing. And that is what is working. But we need more of it. As we start to build our departments up, as we go out and do more, and we create those investments in, I see community passageways up, and I see that they were out there at Garfield High School yesterday. We need all of those other entities and nonprofits that are going out and being able to do a lot of the prevention and intervention work that my department doesn't do. That's where the investments that the HSD creates those investments for. But collaboratively, those are the things that are working. We're just limited with our capacity to be able to be doing everything that we want to do.
Tanya, go ahead.
Well, I was going to put the chief on the spot. Well, there's three of them, but Chief Scoggins. Hello.
Here, it's okay.
I got cut off. Oh, there I am.
There you go.
I am.
Got my steps in. There we go.
Speaking of collaboration and really maximizing dollars too, I do want to put in a plug for the work that Health One is doing. The chief he'll recite all about Health One, but we were able to expand with Health 99, and we have a collaboration there too, where our caseworkers are out with your crew and together following up not only on the calls, but the follow-up visits. Did you make that doctor appointment? And what I love about this program, what's working well, and this may be a surprise, but we're a lot more agile than you think. Based on data and innovating and trying new things, and again, the mayor said, what are the results? We are seeing early results, and I don't know how he does it, but the chief has this data in his head and will recite that now. But I will say, so that's your hold it up. But I will say we're also taking advantage of every dollar. And so some of you may have heard that there are these major lawsuits, the city is going to be a recipient, starting to receive some dollars from the opioid settlement funds as well. And we're putting that back into community. And so I just want to inform you that there's a lot of things that are happening. You might not see it, but we're bringing those things online, and some of it is online. And so with those settlement dollars, we're able to expand and do some more collaboration as well. But Chief?
Sure. So I'll circle back in a minute and talk about buprenorphine that the mayor mentioned earlier, because we should be talking about that, because that's working well. But what's also working well is our firefighters each and every day. With our vacancies, that means that our folks are working a lot of hours to keep the station staffed so they can go and respond to those emergencies. That's working well. We'll get more. We know it's going to be hard, but we'll get more. The relationship right here is working well. We talk a lot. We share a lot. Tanya's case managers are housed in the fire department and our Health One program that's been operational now for 5 years, and they do absolutely amazing work in all the touches. And Lieutenant Stewart's here, and he works on Health One. He does a lot of shifts on Health One. So a lot of things are working well, but I want to really talk about something that's new and we think is innovative. Last year when the mayor passed the executive order on the overdose crisis that we're facing right now, we immediately went into action and put Health 99 in service last June. Health 99, if you see it around the city, it has H99 on the unit. That's our overdose response unit. So they're going only to overdose calls, and that's staffed with 2 firefighters and a case manager. So if the person's revived, we try to clear the scene a bit and let our folks go to work with the additional training that they have to try to talk people actually to getting into treatment. So what we have been working on behind the scenes also was getting approval from the state for our paramedics and EMTs to deploy buprenorphine. We know they're doing it in Camden, New Jersey. We know they're doing it in San Francisco. We sent a team down to San Francisco to partner with them to see how they deployed it. Well, in December, we got a tentative approval. Our medical director, Dr. Michael Sayer, he built out a training plan. And about 4 weeks ago, we trained 10 paramedics to actually deploy buprenorphine. So person overdoses, Narcan will revive you and bring you back. But what's getting ready to happen is those withdrawal symptoms, and they can be very violent and painful. Buprenorphine blocks that for 24 to 48 hours. And that's an opportunity for our folks to actually get them into treatment, get them into help. And in the first 2 weeks, this is our 3rd week, so I'll get the numbers for this week, but as of Monday, we've had 8 people say yes. And what that means is saying yes to changing their lives in 2 weeks, saying yes to going into treatment. That's really innovative and it's important. And I'll even say a little bit more on that. 3 of those 8 have now gotten injected with the 30-day dose. So that's huge for a person to change their life. When you have a buprenorphine dose for 30 days, you can start to think clearly. You can start to level out. You can find shelter. You can get the help you need. We couldn't have done that without the support of the mayor and the council and believing in the work that we're doing in the Seattle Fire Department. But what we think is the more paramedics we train, the more EMTs, when we get that approval from the state, we're going to be able to actually have an impact. Because remember, I said in 2023, we responded to over 5,200 overdoses and over 3,800 were opioid related. That's our spot right there where we can actually help people. And some of those folks are going on over and over and over. And our people have relationships. Tanya's case managers and our firefighters, they have relationships. And the latest thing that we've done is we've just signed an agreement with the University of Washington to bring a nurse practitioner into the fire department. So we can do even more. People need help with wound care. People need help with prescriptions right now. That nurse practitioner is going to be able to help with our case management and our follow-up. So those things are working well.
So you're not just fighting fires out there.
No.
Mayor, I have a question for you. One of the things you're trying to revitalize downtown. How does that revitalization, getting people to come back to work downtown, is there a connection there and our public safety and how that, the optics of it to be able to bring the vibrancy back? And is the city doing that? Is the city, are their folks being required to come to work?
Sure. So yes, activation and getting human bodies around is a very common public safety strategy. Right now, 65 to 70% of our employees are working full-time. And so it's a misnomer to think that when I mandated, and I was the only one, the port didn't do it, the state didn't do it, the county didn't do it. I was the first one and the only mayor in the state to mandate 2 mandatory days coming back to work. And I did it because I think it was the right thing to do, but we also gave some flexibility for those that needed to stay home for some reason. Now, we will decide this in short order, what a modification of that looks like. I'm talking to many employers downtown about increasing the numbers, and so we're having those discussions as we speak. That is a common tactic. Now, the fact of the matter is that a lot of people will still work from home. That's the new reality. That's the gift of COVID, that people realize there's flexibility. And so we want to still give people flexibility, but that is a common tactic. I'll leave it there, but I'll say that we recognize it's sort of a chicken and egg. That people will say, well, I'm not coming downtown because it's not safe. So what we're constantly doing is trying to do everything. If you look at some of the creative things we're doing, for example, and by the way, I see my friends from the Chinatown International District here. When we talk about downtown, we're very intentional in our downtown activation plan to include our strategies all the way up to 12th and Jackson. And I want to thank Councilmember Wu for signing up and being on the council, because I have a strong ally making sure that, again, in small business districts, as an example, we need these businesses to survive. It's hard enough people competing against Amazon, right? And competing against the giants in commerce for these smaller businesses to survive. So we're looking at it. We have about over 40 strategies in activating downtown, and certainly, yes, one of them are getting people back to downtown. But if you look at the numbers, I recently met with the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, recently met with the mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler. Our numbers are coming back. I'm not happy with them because that's just in my DNA. But we're making tremendous progress in what we're doing, and you're going to see it increase this year.
Chief, about 12th and Jackson. A lot of attention has been put there for what has been going on there. Are we making the progress enough there? Particularly, you look at Little Saigon, which has been hit tremendously hard, but the whole area. And it's just sad to see.
This community has been impacted greatly, and I tell you, every single morning I actually drive through. I come up Rainier Avenue, north on Rainier Avenue, turn on Weller, pass right by the Navigation Center, and I come right to 12th and Jackson just to see what the sediment is, where are we at. And right now, every single morning, around 7:30 to between 8 o'clock, it is looking really, really clear. I have officers that staff at around 8 o'clock to 8 p.m. in the evening. It's the only area, it's one of the few areas in the city that I actually try to make sure that I've got permanent staffing. There's a school, Summit School, that's right there, that many of those kids, that if they come to school and if that area is not clear, they're walking through people that are smoking fentanyl. And I can't have that. The city can't have that. The mayor can't have that. In fact, he makes sure, he goes, this needs to be clean. He goes, this area, we need to have kids that are going to school safely. So we are staffing that right away from 8 to 8 in the evening. I know that it is not quite perfect, but I know that we're making inroads in this area. And I know that we're working closely with the community on a crime prevention strategy, what we refer to as a place-based strategy. Our crime prevention coordinator, Bob Biondo, is working with the group in Little Saigon to actually do very similar work that we've done in Rainier Beach, a beautiful safe place initiative that was done. And the department and other entities are already raising funds to be able to really push forward on kind of using crime prevention through environmental design and finding other ways that we can activate this space. So there is a lot of work that is already going into this area, and a lot of investment that is also taking hold. But it is continuously effort. We got to keep our foot on the gas every single day.
Yeah. Yep. It seems to be recurring too often. So I think we're time to go to our last poll question, our second poll question of the night. Second and last poll question. Right. Mr. Mayor, you want to join me up here so we can look at the results? All right. For our poll number 2, here we go. Do you feel so? No, wait a minute. Well, they caught me off guard there. All right. Please rank your top 3 public or community safety priorities in 2024. Don't have the results here, but you see the questions. I take it that, well, these are moving back and forth. Here we go. Technology.
You don't see higher firefighters, huh?
Do these rank? I wonder.
Gotta get on there.
I guess they're moving targets here, huh?
I get my phone out.
Okay. Is everybody still participating in this, or what? Okay, up and down. Here we go.
Number
114 responses submitted.
I haven't voted yet.
All right, I need some music here. Bear with us. Well, I think hire more police officers is definitely probably going to be one of the top ones, or at least it should be.
See, addiction treatment sort of you. That's sort of you, addiction treatment. You could win. Yeah.
Our responses are continuing here. $175 responses. Well, it's actually good to see people participating in this. How many people do we have here today?
That's pretty good.
About 237, something like that?
That's pretty good.
Just about everybody.
Yeah. 226, that's great. It's so hot.
I think we're getting close. All right. Have we hit the top of the list here? No, a few more. Yeah. Let's just see if we get any. Do you want to pick it up and go? We'll wait and see what we get here, but the mayor wants to say a few last words.
So I'm going to close this out as we see the graphs change. We're going to have, this is like a kickoff. So we're going to go to the communities at your precincts, and we're going to have tables, and we're going to have a dialogue, and it's going to be informal, and we're going to get jiggy with it. So we're going to really get down and dirty, and we want to talk to you. I'm going to talk about your son Connor, if I may, if it's not too emotional for you. That I'm not going to go into detail about your beautiful son that our community lost. I had heard of him. I didn't know you coached at Rainier Beach. He was a superstar. He did everything right. Raise your mic up. He was an angel. And what I hope we impressed upon you tonight, with Sasha, with your words, and with the leadership standing with me, that we're not perfect, but I hope we impress upon you our ability to rise to the moment and our commitment to you. And when I heard about your son's background, and as council member Hollingsworth said, it gets personal. Under Deputy Mayor Tim Burgess, many, many years ago, he's old like me, he had this idea that, well, how upstream do we go on trying to prevent violence? And how do we make sure our brains are developed? And it was his idea to start the pre-K investment when we go upstream. This is not a space the city was in. Every year, about 2,000 kids go, and we look at brain development from 0 to 4. I don't think you go much more upstream than that, even with the prenatal care, realizing some children are born addicted. You look at the $55 million we put into the Seattle Promise. These kids graduate from high school, and we know if they don't have a path to do something, that could lead to a bad place. You look at where we're investing, unlike other cities, $55 million to make sure they have tuition paid scholarships to go to college. So we will continue to go as upstream as possible. We'll continue to arrest when we have to make arrests. We'll continue to treat people that are unhealthy and sick. And we're going to do it with you. So thank you this evening for joining us. I hope you come to the precinct discussions. I hope to be able to shake your hand and thank you for your work. And my last thing, May 18th. May 18th is our day of service. I need you to, it's symbolic. Let me tell you why I say it's symbolic. May 18th is our day of service. Get your blue t-shirt, One Seattle. And we'll pick up some litter and paint out some, abate some graffiti and plant some flowers. But what we're saying here in Seattle is that we're winning. Let me make that clear. We are winning. This is our city. We're not going to let people take their city from us. It's a team concept. That's what that represents. We have over 4,000 people to come join the team. I want to break that record this year. You are here because you care. I know that. We're on the same team. Whether you love me or hate me, love the team. Love the work they're doing. Okay? So May 18th, one day of service. I hope to see you there. And I hope to see you at the next charrette we're going to do, the next Public Safety Forum at the precinct. Thank you very much for coming out this evening.